Hey guys, welcome to this video. My name is John Watts. I'm a consumer protection lawyer in Alabama. And I want to talk to you about really a surprising and I don't know any other way to say it, just almost shocking or amazing depending on your perspective, ruling that's come down from the CDC, which basically says all residential evictions, at least for non-payment of rent, will be halted through the end of the year. Now we'll look at some of the conditions or requirements for this, but this is really an amazing thing that's happened, just came out today, and it's not getting much press. And this can be tremendously helpful to tenants who are facing eviction and really have nowhere to go. Now, the flip side is it's going to have some impact on landlords, and we'll talk a little bit about this, but let's look and see exactly what's going on here. So this is an article, it's a very good summary from David Shepardson, and I'll put a link to his article here. And so we're talking about 43 million U.S. residential renters. There's some income eligibility and some other requirements. We'll look at the actual sort of affidavit or sworn statement that you have to fill out. And this goes through December 31st. And this is again, we'll look at exactly what this is, but you've had to file a sworn declaration about what this will do. And obviously you don't lie and stuff like this. And so what's the point of this? Well, the point is that we don't want a mass amount of evictions and then people are going to homeless shelters and then COVID is spreading there, or maybe they're piling into a house or an apartment with a bunch of other people and then again COVID is spreading. So back a few weeks ago, the president told the CDC, hey, investigate whether mass evictions would potentially cause a great increase in the spread of COVID. And so this is their answer today, saying, yes, that's what happened. And just to give you an idea, this article references that back in July, there was an estimate of $21.5 billion in past due rent. So it's obviously the whole country's been affected by COVID. So let's look at what you have to say under penalty of perjury in order to get this protection. And I'll put a link to both of these articles and in the description or in the comments. So this is for tenants, residents, and trying to get the protection of this program to prevent the further spread of COVID. So what you have to do is fill this out and you give it to your landlord. Well, who has to sign it? Basically, each adult has to sign it. And unless it's modified, it's good through December 31st, 2020. And it says, look, you still have to pay your rent. You have to follow all the terms. And this is very important, because I don't want somebody to listen to this and say, oh, my landlord told me in the lease that I can't have any dogs, and now I have 12 dogs and he can't kick me out because of that. No, you may still also be evicted for reasons other than not paying rent. Okay, and this just reminds us that you need to tell the truth. Okay, this is something that's a sworn declaration, sworn testimony. So what are the things that you as a tenant have to say? Well, I've used best efforts to obtain all available government assistance for rent or housing, and I just can't find anywhere else to go. And then how about income? Well, I expect to earn no more than $99,000 if I'm an individual, or $198,000 if joint. Okay, so that's the expectation for the earnings this year. So it's not looking at, well, what do your tax returns say for 2019? This is saying, hey, 2020 obviously has been a crazy year. So what are your expectations in the calendar year 2020? So that's the second requirement. So the third requirement is you have to be able to say, look, I can't pay my full rent because of what? Substantial loss of household income, loss of hours of work or wages. Maybe I've had a layoff. Maybe I've had extraordinary out-of-pocket medical expenses. Okay, so there has to be a reason why you're unable to pay the rent. And then this next requirement is I've used my best efforts to make timely partial payments Okay, so doing the best I can to pay the rent. So if your rent's $1,000, you can't really say, well, I tried to pay $1, unless that truly is all you can afford. You need to be able to say, I've tried to do the best I can to pay whatever I'm able to. Now, look, a lot of landlords have taken the position, I'm not taking anything less than the full amount. Well, then you try it, okay? But if they say, hey, if you can pay half the rent, and you say, yeah, I can pay half, well, then you need to pay half. And then this is a real critical part, and this is really the basis of this order, is if evicted, I'm either going to become homeless, I'll need to go to a homeless shelter, or I'll move into a new residence, share with other people who are sort of crammed in together because I have no other available housing options. And then this is just an understanding that I still have to pay rent and I still have to comply with the other obligations. And so, fees, penalties, all that stuff is still going to be owed, okay? And so, let me see if I can get this to highlight here. Yeah, further understand fees, penalties, interest for not paying rent or making housing payment, may still be charged or collected. And then this is really, really vital because, there have been different cities and states that have imposed some rent control or a kind of a freeze on evictions. And people say, well, that means I don't ever have to make up those missed payments. Well, the CDC is making it very clear because this is what you have to sign under oath. You say, I understand at the end of this temporary halt, which right now is December 31st, then let's see what will happen. My housing provider may require payment in full for all payments not made prior to and during the temporary halt. So if your rent is $2,000 a month and let's say that you didn't pay June or July or August, so you're $6,000 behind, and you can honestly fill out this form. Well, then we add September and we add October, November, December. If my math's right, that's 7 months. At $2,000, that'd be $14,000. So come January 1st, your landlord can say, hey, I want the full $14,000, okay? So this is something that it doesn't make the rent go away. This isn't canceling the rent. This is saying you get a reprieve, okay? So similar to what, and we've talked about this in other videos, the CARES Act, certain federally backed loans, you can, in essence, get 12 months of not paying your mortgage, okay? So this is, but again, those payments will be due at some point, probably not all in a lump sum, but with this rental situation, they will all be due at once if your landlord requires it. And then again, just an understanding that if you lie in this, there can be civil and criminal consequences. So again, just wanted to share this with you. Big picture, basically any residential renter, regardless of if the building is connected with the government or is financed by a federally backed loan. So we're not talking about the CARES Act or anything like that. Just saying, I mean, if you're in a house, if you're in an apartment, and if the landlord owns it outright, it doesn't matter. If you can honestly say these things, present that to the landlord, then you can get this protection. Now, what I would do is you've got to document this. We always talk about this in our videos. You've got to be able to fully document that this was given to the landlord. So it may be that you physically see the landlord, and so hand a copy. And I just print out a little piece of paper or handwrite it. Just get the landlord to acknowledge that you gave them a copy of this. And make sure you keep a copy of it, okay? So you don't want to give your only copy and then the landlord say, no, you never gave it to me. So you definitely want to have a copy that you keep in your own records. And if you don't physically hand it to the landlord, send it by certified mail. Send it by email. Send it by fax, but you've got to be able to prove that they received it. So if you send it by email, landlord could say, I never got it. Well, unless they respond to you, then that's not good enough proof. Even a fax with a fax confirmation is really not good enough. If you can't hand it to the landlord or get an email back saying, yes, we received your CDC, sworn testimony under oath here, then what I would do is send it certified mail or send it FedEx. So you may be living in Florida and your landlord is out in California. Well, pay the $30 or whatever, send it by FedEx so you can prove that they got it. Send it by certified mail so that you can prove that they received it. And keep a signed copy of it, everything that you sent. You've got to document that. There's no point in going through all this effort of filling this out and sending it to your landlord if you can't prove that your landlord received it. So make sure you spend the time, the money to make sure that you can prove that your landlord received it. Now, if you're in the middle of an eviction case, then you might want to send it to the lawyer representing the landlord and send it to the landlord, and then let the court know that you've done this. Okay, you may want to file this in court as well, along with a motion to kind of freeze everything. And look, there's a lot of unanswered questions. What happens if, I'm recording this at 9:30 p.m. on September 1st. What if you have trial tomorrow morning, September 2nd at 9 a.m.? I'd go in with a copy of this and see if the judge will stop it. I think the judges will be pretty sensitive to this, that, hey, this is from, an executive order from the president. The CDC has issued this, and I think they'll respect that. But even if they don't, make sure that you document it in the court file that you've requested this, and you may need to appeal or ask the judge to reconsider. So again, a lot of unanswered questions, and if there's interest in this video or you have questions, I'll do some follow-up videos. I just wanted to get something out kind of quick tonight to say this is out there and give you the link so you can read it on your own. So appreciate you guys watching this, and you guys have a great night. Bye-bye.